Whoop, whoop, whoop. No, that's a tree. Damn it. Have you ever wondered if there was a drone out there that was packed with features but wouldn't empty your bank account? I've owned, tested and flown drones hundreds of times, and I've noticed that sometimes they're all just about hype and great marketing. But today I've got my hands on a Potensic Atom drone, and this little thing is much more than hype, and later on in this video I have a special offer for you, so stick around. G'day friends, you know when you see people on YouTube saying a company reached out to them to review a product? I always thought that was kind of rubbish, but Potensic actually reached out and asked if I would review their Potensic Atom GPS drone. I thought it was a scam initially, but as you can see here, I have the drone right here in my hands, and although Potensic have actually sent me the drone to review, I haven't received any payment, and this video is my opinion alone. Now that's out of the way, let's get to the review that's going to go over 8 key features that I think everyone should know about before purchasing any drone. And as usual, I'll put links to the items in this video in the description if you want to check them out for yourself. So let's get started. So there are 2 kits for the Atom drone. The basic kit is $299, which includes the drone, 1 battery and the controller, and a USB-C charging cable, which is a pretty decent deal. But for an extra $100, you can grab the Fly More kit, which is what they've sent me here to review. It comes with a nice case for all your gear, 3 batteries, and you also get this 3 battery fast charging hub that shows you how much charge is left in your batteries, and it also charges your controller via the supplied USB to USB-C cable. And as I was curious, I plugged this USB-C cable into my phone and it charged that as well, although I don't recommend doing that because we could blow up your phone. But it worked for mine. Each battery will give you up to 32 minutes of flight time, although I got about 25-26 minutes out of it, but that's around an hour and a half of joy before you have to recharge, which I thought was pretty cool. Plus you also get multiple cables to fit your iPhone or your Android device, as well as extra propellers and even a screwdriver and lots of extra spare screws. And they even supplied a 64GB SD card as part of the Fly More combo. I didn't get half this much gear when I bought my last drone, which was around the $3,000 mark. Now let's go over the controller. The controller feels solid in your hands and it can expand to fit just about any phone size. And what I liked about it was how much it feels like a large controller in your hands, because the phone doesn't sit below or above the controller, it's right in the middle. It kind of feels like a large Nintendo Switch. The antennas fold out and it can angle in all sorts of directions. And you've also got a couple of buttons to switch between photos and video mode, and a dial to tilt the camera up and down. One thing I didn't like about the controller was not being able to take photos at the same time as doing video. You have to stop recording, switch to camera mode and snap your shot, and then you got to switch back to recording and then press record. And because of this, I thought I was recording a few times when I actually wasn't. But as I noticed later, if you have the phone volume up, there is a loud chime when you press record, so that kind of fixed the issue anyway. And the other small thing that was a bit of an issue for me as well was when you switch from photo to video mode, it takes 3 to 5 seconds. And on many other drones I've used this feature on, it's almost instant. That being said though, I think I like this style of controller more than any other drone I've flown that use a phone as a screen. Also feel free to hit the like button if you're getting value from this video, because it helps me and the channel. And also any Potensic drone flyers out there, let me know what you think of this drone in the comments below. Once I'd unpacked the drone and charged the batteries, this took about 15 minutes to download the app, go through the initial setup and start flying. And although I've flown many drones and have flown for years, I've never even ever touched a Potensic drone before until I got this one. So if you've never flown a drone in your life, probably allow 25 minutes to half an hour, take your time and you'll be off and flying. Alright, now for the star of the show, the drone itself. It's super lightweight, it's under 250 grams, so there's no license needed for this one. In fact, the Potensic website says it weighs 249 grams, but I put it on the scales with a battery in it, and it said 239 on my scales. Maybe we have less gravity in Australia. The one thing that I did notice with this is although it's well made, it kind of feels like I've got a toy in my hands, and I couldn't help wondering how it would hold up in the event of a crash. And it turns out I didn't have to wait too long. Whoop! Ah, damn it!
Attitude mode.
I pulled back on it, but it didn't slow down. The camera on this thing will film at 4K 30 frames a second. It'll also do 25 and 24 frames a second. And at 1080p, it'll do 60 frames a second, 50, 30, 25 and 24 frames per second using a Sony CMOS sensor. And the photos, even though they're shooting at 12 megapixels, are pretty decent, and you can shoot it in RAW and JPEG. These images here were shot in JPEG. But if you want to do slow motion with this drone, you will need to be shooting at 1080p 60 frames a second, so you'll be able to half speed your shots. The video it takes though is quite impressive. The big improvement over Potenzic's previous model drone is the 3-axis gimbal on the front here, which keeps things super steady and allows for a tilt range of plus 20 degrees or minus 90 degrees. So even in stronger winds, it should remain pretty level. The Atom also is GPS positioning enabled, so you can see where your drone is at all times, and that also means you'll have that return to home feature that everybody loves, and it's something you'll need in an emergency. Bit of grass in the props, I'll clean it out and we'll launch it and see if she still flies. Look at that. Another thing I like about the Atom drone is that it's not geo-fenced, which means this drone won't automatically refuse to take off if you're near a restricted area like some other drones I have. Having said that, don't fly in restricted areas. Now I could talk about the visual tracking, but why don't I just show you?
2,
1 sec.
1, go.
Okay, Shane, start walking, see what happens. Well, look at that, eh? A little bit fiddly on the tracking setup, but that is really good. Hey Shane, I hate to kill you, but how about going for a bit of a jog? Is that all I get? That's it? That's all I get? Keep in mind that although the tracking works pretty well, if it loses sight of you, the drone will just stop. And this drone also does not have any kind of obstacle avoidance, which isn't a game changer for me. But if you are a new flyer, this would have been great to have that as a feature for beginners. I just realized why there are 8 spare propellers in this bag now. Every time you give a tree a haircut, you'll probably need to replace 1 or 2 of them. Right, so the drone doesn't have any obstacle avoidance, but it does have a sensor on the bottom so it knows where the ground is. So it thinks my hand is the ground. So bring it back down again. That keeps it from crashing into the ground, but it won't keep it from crashing into anything else. I know you're already getting a lot with this drone, especially with what I'm going to talk about in a minute, but I would happily lose another lesser feature and have that obstacle avoidance added in. Another feature I didn't like that much is the fact that the power button is on the bottom of the drone. It's not a huge problem, but a few times I thought I turned it on, but I hadn't held the button in quite long enough. And the first time I did it, I couldn't work out why the app was saying drone was disconnected. Of course, once you get used to it, it wouldn't matter, but having the button on top, at least you can see the flashing light a little easier. This app is also pretty user-friendly. It shows all your flight info like controller signal, battery life, and satellite connections. You can manually adjust all your camera settings, which is pretty good for a camera of this size or a drone of this size. And you can even set up a virtual fence to keep the drone from flying too far away if you're worried about your kids just sending it off into the netherland. The Atom has a range of 6 kilometers, but if your drone loses connection, the return to home feature does a solid job. Just make sure you set your return to home height at least 50 meters and higher if you're near mountains, as it will just fly into stuff because of the lack of obstacle avoidance. Because how the return to home feature works is it goes up to the height you set, flies directly across to the point where it took off from, and then comes straight down. If there's anything in the way in that time, it'll just fly into it. Now this is where the drone sets itself apart from other drones of its price range. The Quick Shots feature basically enables you to get cinematic camera movements with just a touch of a button. The types of shot you get built into this drone are pull away, rocket, circle, spiral, and boomerang shots. A word of caution here though, when you're setting up these shots, make sure you're above obstacles. And now here is your surprise that I promised at the start of the video. Because I agreed with Potenzic to do a drone review on the Atom, they've given me permission to offer you 15% off when you buy this drone. All you have to do is put in the discount code ReviewProdigy when you go through checkout, and you'll get that 15% discount. Overall, I really like this drone. Even though I broke it, I actually broke the cover off when I smashed it and put a few marks on it. But it's affordable, it's great for beginners, it's packed with features, and it's a hell of a lot of fun. And of course, it's got the quick shot features as well, which you don't get in a lot of other drones, even higher price drones, which is a great feature. The only things I would change about this drone would be to add in obstacle avoidance and being able to take photos while you're using your video. That would be fantastic. But not every drone has everything. And at this price point, it's plenty of drone for the money anyway. If you think this is the drone for you and you want to get more cinematic shots out of it, then click this video right here where I go through a whole range of flying techniques that will make you a better drone pilot and give you better pictures. Thanks for watching.